Hello YouTubes. Just before Halloween I added a couple of interior LEDs to a couple of houses in my town. Nothing fancy, just some hot glue, LED, wires out the back stuck into a train controller like this. This one is actually a bit more powerful than the one I used. Anyway, I thought that was unfair to all the other houses in the street, so I think we'll add some lighting to this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. You get the idea. We're lighting up the whole street and we're going to make it really simple. Before we begin, let's go through our list of ingredients. One vintage train track controller. Doesn't need to be vintage, but vintage is usually cheap or free. I will be using the DC output from this like it was going to the rails, which means you can adjust the amount of power going to your lights. Our distribution blocks. I will explain how they work later. This kit did come with a set of these connectors to go onto all these screws. However, I did try one, and I think they're actually made of titanium because I could not crush it, even with my big fancy tool. This big job could not crush this, so we're not using that. We're just going to twist the wires and curl them around the screws. I did, however, at least add some solder to the end of the wire so that it didn't fray. And of course, we'll need some LEDs. White ones, bright white. White ones, warm white. Red ones, green ones. Red flicker bulbs. And what's in here? A whole bag of different coloured flicker bulbs for different effects in each house. You might want a TV, you might want a disco, so lots to choose from. So that's the parts we need. What about the tools required? Wire snips, wire strippers, Phillips screwdriver on this occasion for those screws, soldering iron, optional. If you want to just twist your wires together, go for it. I prefer soldering. Gigantic drill. That will make sense later. And of course, my favourite, hot glue gun. Cordless. It does need recharged constantly though, so if you're going to get a rechargeable hot glue gun, get a good one. Don't go to Walmart. I think I've got everything. Now, I am going to set up a temporary power station to test everything as we go. So I am going to plug these two connectors into the DC output, which would normally go to track power, not the AC power, okay? Doesn't matter which way around these wires go, because if the LEDs don't light up, all we have to do is change direction, which basically reverses the polarity. If you know anything about LEDs, you will know that they only work one way around. Right, let me explain how this works. There's all sorts of ways to wire these up, but essentially it's pairs of screws connected with a bar in the middle, okay? So that's connected to that, but those two aren't connected to those two. So what we want to do is be able to feed one wire positive side into all of them and one wire negative into all of these, and then we can take feeds positive, negative for all our bulbs. So what we do, and that's what this is for, we'll slide that in there so that everything here is now essentially connected, right? Just tighten the middle one down for there. Down there for now. We'll do the same with the black one. Slide that in there. So everything shiny is now connected if you were to run a current through it, okay? Please go in. Oh, I was in the wrong hole. Ooh, error misses. Right, so we'll just tighten that one down, keep it in place for now. We're going to take our two track feed wires, we're going to call them, and we are going to attach one side up here. Make sure that it's curling round clockwise so that when you turn the screw... Oh, what I did establish actually with these, you have to put the wire underneath that little metal plate. See that? Sort of in between that square thing and our red bar. the wire has to go in there because the screw will not grip it properly. Let's tuck that under there, please, cooperate. Like so. Okay, so now the positive coming from the controller is feeding every single screw. We'll do the negative. Again, we'll just put it in this one here. Now, as I said before, there are different ways to wire these up, but this will work for my purpose. Okay, there we go. So, positive wire coming in, negative wire coming in. Everything here shiny is positive, everything here shiny is negative. So, let us hook up one bulb to test it out. So we can put this red wire anywhere, but that would be silly. So let's just keep it all kind of symmetrical. We'll put a red wire down here. These are coming from the bulb, by the way. And our black wire, completely opposite. So it could go in that screw. Sorry, it could go in that screw or that screw, but we'll just go with this one for now. Okay, so there's our circuit. Positive coming in, negative coming in. It feeds entire blocks. Positive going to the positive of the LED, black going to the negative of the LED. So if we just switch this on, turn the power, and it should light up. Now, if it doesn't light up, it's because those wires at the back are the wrong way around, and we can just we could swap them around, or we just switch the direction. Let's find out. No, we got it right first time. It's a miracle. Now, that only requires a quarter power. Obviously, the more things you start plugging into this, the more power it's going to need. But I'm not going to turn it up any more than that because I might blow my bulb, and I don't want to do that. These bulbs are all pre-resisted with a 1000 ohm resistor. If you plug the LED directly into that without a resistor, it'll just instantly blow because these little bulbs only take up to about 3 volts. This is pumping out up to 18 volts. At the moment, it's probably about 7 volts or something. So that's how we're going to test it. We'll obviously check all our bulbs like this before we install them into houses. So far, so good. Let's bring in our first patient. It's a painted lady. I think this is possibly the first building that my wife created for me. It's very nice. However, we didn't realise at the time that you had to leave the roof loose so that you could put lights and interior in it. And we even have a second floor. So I think we'll keep this one simple. We'll put a warm white LED, possibly near the front, down about there. And we'll send the wire down the back and probably just poke a wee hole out of here for now. Chances are we're not going to see the back of the house anyway, and if we do, we can always put a garbage can or something, or a table, something to disguise the wire. I don't want many wires coming straight down the way into the layout, is what I'm trying to get at here. So let's hook up one bulb, stick it up the inside just to see how it's going to look and see if it's going to be bright enough. We might have to add a couple, you know. Right, let's test it then. Red wire in there. On the positive side of the bars, red up there. Black's going to go down here. But you know that already, if you've been paying attention. The bulb's coming on already because I didn't switch the power off. Right, let's poke it up the inside and see how it looks, shall we? So I'm thinking if we mount it roughly there on the roof, or the ceiling if you like, basically on inside there. Wire isn't long enough to show you, so you just have to trust me, but I'm thinking it'll go about there and light up the ground floor. So if I switch the power off and on, it's a nice little glow. Bearing in mind, I do have a lot of studio lighting on at the moment. So I'll tell you what, we'll turn that off, you'll get a better idea, okay? That one off, and this one off. Then we can't see what we're doing. You can see a problem there. It is pitch dark, pitch black in my room at the moment, so that's kind of exaggerating, but that's something else you have to keep in mind. If you're going to be putting interior lighting, you probably want to paint the inside of your buildings black, because obviously you're not going to see it if I only have that amount of light. Let's turn the brightness down in the room just a shade. Yeah, you're not going to see the glow on the outside, so I think as long as you can see the inside, I think that'll be okay. I do think I've got access on the inside for the other buildings, so we could possibly paint them. Right, let me get the hot glue gun hotted up, and we'll get that stuck in place. Our glue is ready. I decided I'm going to put a big splodge right down there. Lovely. And just lay our bulb right there. Just like that. We will let that set. And then put another wee splodge over the top, just so it doesn't fall down because, you know, gravity. And then we'll put the wire down into that corner, put more glue there, feed this wire up here, drill a wee hole out the back, Bob's your auntie. So I'll bring you back when that is all glued in place. We are all now glued in place. Remember, this is just the first one, it's just very basic, just to get it done. So splodge of glue there, splodge there, one down there, wire out the back. As you can see, not a lot of wire coming out there, so we're going to have to extend them to get from there way over to the power block, wherever that's going to live. Now, you could just run a couple of red and black wires. However, I think what I'll do instead is I'm going to use a plug like this. That way round, of course. Okay, now they come like this and you're like, oh, that's really confusing, but all you have to do is basically cut them in half, right? Snip it there. So these two wires, red and black, they will go to our power distribution block. Come along here, and we'll connect the red and the black of this side to our house wires, like so. And then we can easily unplug this and move the house about to wherever we want it. So let me get those connected, we'll get this joined on, we'll plug it in, see how it looks. We are ready for our first installation test. So, connect our little plugs, as before. Red wires going to the red bar, black wires going to the black bar. Make sure you get your plug the right way around. Plug you in. Okay, we're all plugged in. Let's switch it on, see how it looks. Power on. I need to turn my light down a wee bit so you can see it, because we're not doing it justice. Let's turn that down to about there. We'll turn the other one down. Right, let's try it now. Yeah, we're definitely getting a bit of glow out the front, unfortunately. It's not too bad, but I think I might end up just grabbing some black paint and painting the front section there. Should be able to get a brush in there. But not at the moment, because that is the first one done, and we have got lots more to do. So, let's bring in the next patient, nurse. And it's another painted lady. This one does, however, have a removable roof. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a split down the middle. The other thing I've noticed is wifey has put in little curtains and drapes and stuff. So I don't actually think my little LEDs would be bright enough. So I am going to try some LED light stripping. This has been taken off of something in the house and it was just sitting in a box, so I'm going to give it a shot. If you don't know about these, you notice there's 3 little copper strips. Normally there's just 2. For this one there's 3 for lighting, different brightnesses I think. Anyway, you notice there's 3 little bulbs. Each LED bulb has got its own little resistor. So every set of 3 resistor every set of 3 resistor. So you could just use those 3 if you want. But I'm going to try using 6. I'm going to attach them to the inside of the roof, which has been painted black, which is nice. And that should shine down and light everything up. Now, obviously, it's all going to be the same, but because the drapes, the curtains have got slightly different colours, it might give off an okay effect. First thing we need to do is make sure this is the right colour. So I need to solder on some wires to this one. And we're going to be using, you see there's a little positive, positive in there? As long as we connect one of them to the positive, one to the negative, we can ignore the other one. Trust me, I've used these before. It will work. Right, let me get some wires attached. And we can just go straight in with the other side of one of these plugs. I need the male side. Oh, this one's much longer than the last one. Does it still fit? Oh, I think this is the wrong size. It is, I'm glad I checked. Right. A different one. Oh, these are all a bit bigger. And they are all male. So that's a problem. Because I don't have anything to attach them to. Let me check, see if I've got... Oh, wait a minute. There's another bag. No, that's bulbs. Right, I need to go and hunt for the female side of these. Okay, false alarm. They are bigger, but if I just squeeze them in a little bit, they will still go into those connectors with a bit of force. So that's fine, because these wires are really, really long. So we need to connect the red to the positive, black to the negative on this LED light strip. Should be enough solder left on the strip. So red on the outside here. Well, there's no solder on that at all. Hold on a sec. Let me clean this as well. And we'll try that again. Red on the outside. And black in the middle. Okay, so when we plug this in to this one, give it some power, this should light up. Hopefully, I'm looking for a warm white when I put the power on this. Oh, that wire came off. Oh, goodness sake. It's been really sneaky today. Soldering is usually much better than this. Okay, let's try that again. Warm white, please. Oh, goodness, that's bright. So it is warm white. It does look a wee bit flickery though. Which is weird because it doesn't look flickery in camera. Maybe it's just my eyes then. So let's put that inside and see how it looks. I need to stop staring at it. It's like a deer in the headlights. So that's going to go stuck on there, in there. Need to get it from the inside. Hold on a sec. Something like that. That's actually going to work out okay. I think I'll just go for that. You see it all lighting up different colours? Yeah, that's fine. Let's go for that. So I just need to glue this in place. Feed the wire down, drill a wee hole again, feed the wire out the back, and that one will be done. Awesome. Nice quick one. Light strip is now glued in place. Wire goes down there, out the wee hole in the back of the house. That pops on there. Plug this in here. Red to red. Turn the lights down, see how it looks. That's actually really nice. At least I think it looks really nice. Oh, happy with that one. Yeah, lots of light. Makes a big difference adding the little curtains. So maybe think about doing that for all the rest of them. Much easier than adding an interior to everything. Wonderful. Right. 2 out of 2. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that. I think I will probably use the light strips in any of the buildings that have the curtains, the window coverings. Much easier, much brighter, simple. I'll get on with the rest of the buildings, see you on the layout when it's all done, and see how it all looks. I think it's going to look good. Well, the day has come. The townsfolk are finally getting some power in their little houses. Let's pull that big juice lever. Awesome. Yes. So that's without any interior. I could turn the power up a little bit more, but the camera might freak out because the cameras don't like LEDs. Yes, very nice. You do see some gaps in roofs. We can sort that with some tape on the inside. Overall, really nice. I like the reflection on the street, on the tracks, on the cars. It just brings it all together. There is another couple of houses round the corner, but we can see that in a live stream. For now, super happy with that. It's actually a wee bit bright because we're getting a bit of colour bleed through the pink house. So we'll just turn it down a wee shade. Around about there. Perfect. Now, I didn't add any flickering lights to emulate TVs, etc. I just wanted to make this as simple as possible. I know that might have seemed quite complicated, but that's really as simple as you can get it. LED strip lights wired up to a power distribution block, and then into an old DC controller. You could get a dedicated DC power supply, which is probably a bit more stable. But these old controllers are used to hauling trains around tracks, so they'll power LED lights, no problem at all. And they're adjustable, so I like them for that. And they're plentiful. Everyone's got about 10 of them kicking about, especially if you've moved over to DCC. Right, that's it for now. Lots more to do in terms of buildings. I do have little garages and things which really will need flickering lights for welding equipment, etc. I keep saying that word. I'll stop now. Right, thanks for watching. See you all very soon. Next up will be probably a DCC install on a PA1. Someone requested one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.